by the same token, the time when that same white man, knowing that your eyes are too far open, can send another Negro into the community, get you and me to support him so he can use him to lead us astray, those days are long gone. The political philosophy of black nationalism only means that if you and I are going to live in a black community, and that's where we're going to live, because as soon as you move into as soon as you move out of the black community into their community, it's mixed for a period of time, but they're gone, and you're right there all by yourself. We must understand the politics of our community, and we must know what politics is supposed to produce. We must know what part politics play in our lives. And until we become politically mature, we will always be misled, led astray, or deceived or maneuvered into supporting someone politically who doesn't have the good of our community at heart. So the political philosophy of black nationalism only means that we will have to carry on a political program of re-education to open our people's eyes, make us become more politically conscious, politically mature. And then we will, whenever we get ready to cast our ballot, that ballot will be cast for a man of the community who has the good of the community at heart.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of West Coast Street Knowledge. I'm your host, Gil, a.k.a. the American Cholo. And today I have another banger for you. I got a Mr. Javier. Introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Javier Regoza, a.k.a. Incredible Javier.
Incredible Javier. Javier, you got a pretty crazy story, like a lot of stories I got on here. So why don't we start off first, where you grew up?
Well, I grew up in the city of Monte, California. I was born to teenage gangbangers, you know what I mean? So I was exposed to the life, like, early on. Like, my dad was from the neighborhood. My mom's mom, she's from the neighborhood. Her stepdad's from the neighborhood, you know what I mean? And I grew up all around that shit, and that's all I wanted to be, you know what I mean?
So you're a generational gangster out there,
Well,
right?
Multi-generational, yeah.
Wow. Now, where exactly is the neighborhood that you're from?
It's in El Monte, California, San Gabriel Valley.
Off of, like, what freeways are you guys close to?
The 10 goes right in the middle of it, and then on the other side, on South El Monte, which is also the neighborhood, you're going to have the 60. So you have the 60 and the 10 running right through.
Now, you guys are actually, I didn't know this till maybe a year ago or whatnot, maybe 2 years ago. You guys are actually a very huge neighborhood out there, no?
Yeah, well, we occupy two cities, El Monte and South El Monte. So fucking, yeah, it's like, we started off in South El Monte back in maybe I don't even know, to tell you the truth, like the origins.
Right.
But it was over 50 years ago. And we made our way out, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I never knew, because like Pacoima out here in our side of the valley, there is the big city of Pacoima, but there's a bunch of different gangs in the city of Pacoima. You guys are like Pacoima, but all one neighborhood, right?
Yeah, that was the goal. That was the goal from the beginning, and they eventually took over. You still have smaller neighborhoods. There were once large neighborhoods,
right?
Still there. So I can't say we're everywhere. We are everywhere. But,
right.
You have the other ones still trying to do their thing every now and then.
Of course. So when you grew up, when did you start realizing, or didn't you realize for many years, that your families were gang members, or was that just a normal thing for you guys?
It was normal, and it was right away. You can see that we were outcast. You know what I mean? So basically, my mom and dad, they had a huge drug problem and mainly alcohol, really. They had a huge alcohol problem. So, shit would crack and they'd start fighting, and it wasn't just regular fights. Like, they would fucking go at it, and cops would come. And when I started noticing that I was no different, I wasn't viewed any different, is when the cops would come in and they would treat me like I did something wrong. It's like, man, I ain't doing shit but witnessing this. You know what I mean? And they would come in acting all crazy, giving like fucking weird ass demands and shit. Like, sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up. Like, I ain't do shit. Why you tripping on me? So I kind of seen like I was a bad guy too.
Right.
Like my mom and dad are outlaws, they're fucking outcasts, and so am I. Like, that's it. Like, that's what we are. So very early on, I viewed myself as an outsider.
Right. And how long did it actually take you to get initiated to your neighborhood?
It didn't take too long. There's a process though. In my neighborhood, there is a
walk me through
process.
the process, please.
So first of all, you gotta grow up in Monte, and you have to, this is back then at least.
Right.
I'm not too sure now because I haven't been around like
Correct.
that, like that in a while. But when I was coming up, you had to grow up there. You had to know your boys and shit, and then they'll slowly like be introduced or know actual members and shit, and then they'll start what they call backing it up. So you backing it up, it's kind of like you're an apprenticeship. You know what I mean? Like
right.
not an actual member, but if somebody hits you up, you better say you're a member. So the thing about backing it up is you get fucking killed and you're not even from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
So you start backing it up. So basically, when I was about 13 years old, I started chilling, hanging out, started backing it up little by little. And then you have to go, like, there's tests and shit. Motherfuckers come at you sideways.
Right.
Like, and you got to do something. I remember I would just be chilling, and an older homie, like fucking fresh out the joint, 25, 26 years old. Like, what the fuck, homie? Who you think you are and shit? And I can't be all scared. Oh, no, it's okay, big dog. Fuck no. You get up and you take off. And that's how you earn your respect and shit.
Right.
And fucking, so that's what we had to do. Little by little, you have to, there's other things too that other specifics I can't really get into.
Right.
But there's a lot of things you have to do. And it's basically about establishing a name, establishing who you are. And right when you get to a certain point, then that's when the actual initiation comes in. They jump you in. And you're jumped in by your crowd, the people who know you, who will vouch for you. And for me, it was about 5 people.
Right.
And most of them were in their 20s. One was a teen, a little older than me. My boy Drugsy, rest in peace.
Right.
The rest were in their 20s. And we got jumped in, and that was it. I was an actual member. I was able to get inked up. After that, I got EMF in my stomach right away.
And how old were you at this time?
I'm 14 years old.
Okay, so 14 years old, you got parents, grandparents are from your neighborhood. Did your parents say anything when you joined the neighborhood? Did they know? Did they care?
Well, my mom, she kind of said like she didn't want me to be part of that shit, right? So she would always like, I didn't tell them at first either. Like I would just try to go under the radar, thinking me and my pops are from different crowds and he's different generations. Maybe he won't find out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the only thing that kind of sucks for me, or if I kind of sucks for me back then, is when it came to choosing names. It was hard for a lot of people to get names because, like you said, we're a pretty large neighborhood.
Yes.
A lot of the names are taken already and shit. And everybody was like, "Oh, be Cricket, be Little Cricket," that's my pops' name.
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't want to be just, oh, that's my dad's son. I want to be my own man. But they refused to call me anything else. Like my boys were like, "That's Little Cricket right there. That's Little Cricket."
Right.
So when I started hitting up Cricket, Cricket 2, EMF, or Little Cricket, my pops is asking around like, "Hey, who the fuck is taking my name?"
Oh shit! All right.
That's when they told him, "Hey, it's your son."
Oh, fuck.
And that's when he's like, I see somebody. He was in his 30s already. You know what I mean? He's like, I see somebody writing Little Cricket all over the place, and I was like, "Oh yeah," and he's like, "So you're Little Cricket?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Nah." And I honestly, I was ready to get down with my pops. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to take flight." Right. And he just told me, "Just be Big Cricket, fuck it." You know what I mean? Right. I'm OG. I ain't even on the streets like that anymore. Handle your business. So I was like, "Fuck it." I just Cricket. Still, a lot of the homies still refer to me as Little Cricket just because out of respect for my pops. Of course. But a lot of homies knew me as Cricket and shit. Just Cricket.
Right. Some of the older generation probably calls you Little Cricket.
Yeah, Little Cricket. Yeah, Little Javi and all that shit. You know what I mean? So fucking but yeah, like that's to me it was a trip though. Like now I look back on it, and I know my dad probably wasn't the best thing for him to do, but I could understand that he did out of love. He gave me 2 of his names. You know what I mean?
Right.
He gave me his actual name and his street name. So he really, he really had love. You know what I mean?
So now you're in the neighborhood. Your pops, your family knows you're from the hood. How long did it take you to get wrapped up and end up going to the youth authority?
It took me about 2 years, but I was still going. I was in and out the halls.
Right.
So the last robbery I did, we were looking for enemies and shit.
Right.
And we threw off a rival gang sign, and this motherfucker didn't throw nothing back. And somebody recognized him, like, "Hey, I think that fool bangs the neighborhood." He was backing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So we're like, "Oh, hell nah." And I'm glad we didn't shoot his ass because that would have been something different. You know what I mean?
Right.
We got off, and fucked him up. We fucked him up. We robbed his ass and shit. And he knew me. He knew me and that's the stupid thing about me. I was out there trying to make a name for myself. So I'm writing on the walls. I'm robbing fools. I'm putting in work. I'm doing what I have to do, and I'm trying to get my face known because you know what it's like. Like you out there, you want to be known. You want motherfuckers to say, yeah, hell yeah, that's Cricket, or you mean that's that motherfucker right there.
You want to be hood fame, homie. You want that hood fame, carnal.
That's what I was going for, and yeah, it worked against me. He fucking knew my name, and they arrested me. And I'm in court, and not in court. I'm in the station, and I'm looking like, hey, what time is it? Because I remember the time I got busted, and they told me what time it was, and they're like, no, he tells me, the cop is like, you have somewhere to be? I was like, kind of, and he's like, he tells me the time. I'm like, I'm over detained again. Like these motherfuckers did it again.
Right.
So I go to court, and they let me out again because I'm over detained.
The fuck? All right.
My dumbass thinks that, okay, I'm gonna try to talk to this motherfucker that snitched on me because I found out who he was and shit.
Right.
I'm gonna like get him to drop the charges because I had a boy in the county for that shit because he knew me and my boy Chiquillo.
Right.
So I was like, I gotta talk to this motherfucker, let him know, like, and I didn't threaten him. I just tried to tell him like, hey, check this shit out. The homies want to get you, fool. Like you're pretty much done, right?
Right.
I just testify against me and Chiquillo, like testify saying that it wasn't us.
Right. Right.
Mistaken identity. We all look the same anyway, so it won't matter. And he's like, all right. And my dumbass, I wrote my fucking name on a piece of paper and gave him my number. Bam, here, dog, give me a call. And fucking yeah, that sealed my fate right there. A few days later, fucking cops come pick me up from school, and I went to fucking jail. They weren't letting me out that time. I was processed back to the halls in like 2 hours.
Right. And
what sucks about that shit is I get back to LP, and the staff remembers me, and he's like, Regoza, coming back from Silmore? And I'm like, nah, I'm coming back from the streets. He's like, you stupid motherfucker.
So now you're wrapped up. You finally get caught for this robbery, and now how much time did they sentence you to in YA?
So what they got me for, the robberies weren't even it. Okay. So they got me for 3 robberies. They put the 2 that they put me on probation for, plus this last one, and they would have gave me like 2 years for that. It wouldn't even have been bad. What got me was they got me for dissuading a witness.
Oh, okay. And
they got me for a gang enhancement on top of that. So that made me a 707B, right? So that meant my maximum confinement date max wasn't till I was 21. It was till I was 25.
Yeah, you had a 25 max out there.
They basically sentenced me to juvenile life and fucking in court. It's 10 years. That's it. You out of here. And it was crazy because I went back to I told everybody I was fighting YA, and I went back to the holding tank like, whatever, man. I don't give a fuck. Like, it is what it is. Maybe
right.
I go back to the holding cell, and everybody's like, what happened, man? What happened? I said, oh, I'm going to YA. And they're like, no, you're not. I was like, yeah. They're like, no, you'd be scared. And I said, man, motherfucker. And I told them, look, I'm going to YA. Those motherfuckers need to be scared. And that was just a stupid ass attitude, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
Hey, there was some hard motherfuckers in there, you know what I mean? So they ain't gonna be scared and shit, but that's just the way I wanted to approach it.
So now you're pulling up. I'm guessing you went to SRCC up in Norwalk.
Yeah.
All right. So what's your first take when you first walk into YA that's different from the juvenile hall as you're walking in there?
It's way different. In juvenile hall, you have to walk with remember your hands behind your back. You wear fucking weak ass jumpsuits. You wear fucking tantarans and shit, like the Superman underwear and shit.
Right.
As soon as I got to SR, like they do a mug shot of you. And I was tripping out on that, like, oh shit, that's a trip. I haven't had that since I was in the station and shit.
Right.
They do a mug shot of you. They give you boxers. They give you like Levi's. They're not Levi's, but they're like jeans, jean shorts. They give you a box, and they put us in a cell. And in the halls, it wasn't like that. Like, you go in the infirmary from from chair to chair to chair.
Right.
In YA, you just like they're putting you in cells. I remember it was a trip because as soon as a county bus came, I tripped out on that.
Yeah.
Like from the county jail came in, and I hit some fool up. Hey, where you from, homie? And he's from my neighborhood. I didn't know him though. It's Monte Flores. I was like, orale, Monte Flores. It's a trip because both of our first day in YA.
Right.
I told him, hey, you going to YA? He's like, I'm just here for holding, dog. I'm going to the joint. They gave me 20 years, and I was like, God damn. And fucking, so I realized like, damn, some fucking like they got old motherfuckers in here. And in SR, I seen a gang of like old ass, yoked, fucking big ass brocha and shit. Like these motherfuckers are old. And the first thing that tripped me out is they were like, all right, you're going to, I think I went to Portola. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they gave me my box and I'm waiting to be escorted. Cause because in the halls, they escort you everywhere. They're like, man, what you waiting for? Go. And I was shooting, oh, hell yeah. And I'm walking with my box, right? And it's during rec time. Everybody's walking around, like they're doing their thing. And I'm walking like, fuck yeah. Like, I felt just gangster as fuck. Like, man, hell yeah, I made this shit. Like,
yeah.
Gangster shit right here. And they sent me to my room. They locked me in a room with a white boy and shit. And I'm like, hey, where you from? And he's like, I'm from Crazy White Boys. And I was like, Monte Flores. And then I told him, you got a problem with Mexicans? And he's like, nah, we good. So after that, we just chilled. You know what I mean? It was cool and shit. And but at first, I remember feeling like I made it. Like,
right.
Especially when I would go to the infirmary.
Right.
There would be a lot of violators there, and we'd be chopping it up. And they'd be like, from Monte Flores, I know your homeboy this, I know your homeboy this. And they would always tell stories about these fools. And these were fools I knew from the streets. And I was like, man, like, I got to get my name out there. And that's just what I thought. Like, I got to get my name out there. And everybody always told me, the institutions, try not to go to Nallis. Nallis fucked up. Like, that shit is like you don't want to go there.
That's a time bomb.
Yeah, that was making me think I want to go to Nallis.
Oh fuck!
So
all right.
I'm gonna go to Nallis. So when I went aboard, I scored pretty high on the test, and they were thinking about Paso, Fire Camp, the fucking Preston, even try to make me go to like work my way to Ventura.
Right.
And I was like, nah, hell nah, I want to go to Nallis. And and I was like, I just told him like I was pretty good at speaking up for myself.
Right.
So I just told them I want to be closer to my family, and I think that Nallis should be an option. And they said, we'll make it as your third option, but you probably won't go to Nallis. And I was like, okay, cool, because I was already 16, you know what I mean? So I'm probably going to Paso, Preston.
Right.
And I was like, all right, cool. And they came to pick me up with that. They put you in we call it like a spaceman suit, because it's an all white jumpsuit and shit.
Right.
Said on it, Fred C. Nallis. Hell yeah. It's time. It's go time. And I went to Nallis. I remember my first day, I went with some like scary ass fool. And I was like, fuck yeah, we're going to do this shit. Right?
Right.
So we're going to get our bang on. If somebody tries to trip, we're taking flight. And he's like, oh, fuck. You could see it's kind of scary. I'm like,
right.
So we get to Truman in Nallis, which is the orientation building.
Okay.
And they have wards there that are actual, they're housed there. And I'm hitting fools up. Where you from? People just shipping out. Who the fuck is this fool? Look at the spaceman suit. Like, right?
Yeah.
And so a few of my boys, Psycho from Eastside Mifas, he unfortunately got to all day now. But he just pulled me to the side, like, hey, we gonna look out for you. You know, shit's gonna be cool, right? And the other fool that I came with, he wasn't as fortunate. They jacked him for his Walkman right away.
Fuck, right away.
And he snitches, and the staff out him, like they out him on front of everybody. So we're in the day room, right? And the staff are like, "You guys want to be stealing people's Walkmans? That's it. We're taking everybody's Walkman now. No Walkmans for 30 days." And everybody's looking at this fool, and he's just like, "Oh fuck," you know what I mean? And the staff just walks out of the room, like he goes into like the fucking the staff area, right? And he's just chilling. And when he's not, I look, I see the staff not walking. I said, this is my opportunity. So I look at that boy, I said, man, I hate bitch ass fucking snitches. And boom, I slapped that fool right across his face.
Right.
And everybody just looked at me like, what the fuck? And I try to play it cool, like I'm just chilling and shit. Like this is every day for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so everybody just tripped out, and everybody just they took a liking to me right away. And we were, and orientation is different than mainline, because you have,
of course,
you have people coming in regularly, new. And so I didn't have money. Like my parents, like they were broken shit.
Right.
They didn't have a car, didn't have no way to send me money. So I was robbing fools. So I was jacking, and I was doing it just the same way that I would do it on the streets. Like I wasn't burglarizing, I wasn't going in the lockers. I was like, hey, come off them shoes. Hey, give me that shit. And I'm just pushing up on fools. And I ended up getting written up for robberies too. Like they got me for a few robberies and shit. Some people went to suicide watch and got their jewelry back and shit. And yeah, they ended up getting me for robberies.
A lot of people don't understand how YA is just a reflection of a mirror of the streets, man. And that's
Yeah,
pretty much,
yeah, low
right.
key. Yeah, like if you're a knucklehead on the streets, you're gonna be a knucklehead in YA. And yeah, so they told me one thing they always told me too is like one cottage you don't want to go to is Hayes. That's a fucked up cottage. You know what I mean? If you go anywhere, you got homies on Cleveland, you got homies on Roosevelt, you got homies on what was Washington, Monroe,
Right.
homies there. Jackson's cool. You don't want to go to Hayes, and they fucking send me to Hayes. You know what I mean?
It's almost like being on different blocks of different neighborhoods. They're telling you should go over here because you got homies over there, huh?
Yeah. And I had homies on almost all cottages. I didn't have a drug program, so but I did have homies on drug programs. So I couldn't go there. I had homies on pre-parole cottages, but I just got there, so I'm not going there.
Right.
And all the rest of them, I had homies, except on Adams and Hayes.
All right. So
And
now you're going to Hayes. Talk to me. What's going on in Hayes as soon as you walk in there?
Hayes is something else because like you aren't really. They tell you the rules, but they don't really tell you how it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I ended up finding out that was a black cottage.
Okay.
Right? So you know what I mean? The homies really didn't have shit sold up there, and fucking they made it seem like I don't know, like we were on equal footing, but
Now, when you say when you say it was a black cottage, explain to the people who are watching what that kind of really means.
Yeah, so basically the black wards, the African American wards, they had more juice, they had more pool, they had more experience. You had cats that had been there since like you know, they were like 7 numbers and shit. Like they had been there since the 90s and shit, like mid 90s.
Right.
And they were there for years. They had years on us. But most of us were just either getting there or had been there for maybe 1 or 2 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we really didn't have the game that they had. And they had lacing them up and they knew what to do. And we didn't have that shit. So we were a little more or less organized. And they had a little bit more pool than us. And I wasn't going to let that like change anything in my program though. You know, I was going to do what I was going to do. And that shit came to a test one day because they a green lighter came to our cottage and they were like, all right, you guys could get down with them one-on-one, but nobody's jumping them. And I think a few fools were gonna go with that. They were gonna say like, all right, cool, we'll just go back to back on him until he leaves the cottage and shit.
Right.
And I was like, hell nah. And I had told my boy Paco from San Diego, he was a resident, but he was down as fuck.
Right.
My boy, yeah, I told that fool, hey, if anybody gets down with this fool, I'm jumping in. And that fool's like, hell yeah, fool, let's do this shit. So he ends up getting down with one of the homies because they it wasn't even over the green light shit. They beefed it in Taft and lockup. They had just both came and they had beef. So they start getting down with each other, and I said, "That's it! Boom! Jump off the bed." I jump off the bed. He jumps off the bed, and we just, jumping this fool.
Right.
And running around we can't even catch him. Like it's not even worth it, low key.
Yeah.
Because he nobody even jumped in for him either. Because like they were like, "Fuck this fool." And we ended up going to lockup. That was my first. Like I had just got there maybe like a month before.
Right.
And I'm already going to lockup and shit. And I spent Christmas in fucking lockup. That shit was a trip.
So when you got back to that cottage, did the Negros trip on you guys in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah. I got back and I was talking to my boy Puppet from Westside Verdugo.
Right.
And then fucking some fool walks up to me, Smoke from Nutty Block. He ended up being cool after, but at the time he was pissed. And he's like, "Hey, we gave you guys like a direction kind of."
Right.
I thought we had an understanding kind of thing, right? And I, man, I'll take orders from nobody. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
And he just told Puppet, "Hey, you better lace your boy up." And he walked away. And fucking, he's like, "Man, that fool got hands, fool. You're probably gonna have to see him." It's like, man, I don't give a fuck. But he never tripped on me. Smoke gonna be cool as fuck. Like he didn't say nothing. He was just like, whatever. He's just kind of mad at the time and just letting that fool know.
So what would guys get green lights for in Nellis for?
I call it cracking ears. So disrespecting. If you disrespect the Sur, disrespect Mexicans, you just any kind of racial slurs against Mexicans, Chicanos, any kind of disrespect towards Sureños, Sutreses, Outsiders, just anything like that. They put you on green light. Sometimes it would even be a misunderstanding.
Right.
I've seen times where people diss like say you diss schoolyard crip, right?
Right.
Like they'll call them like scrapyard crip.
Right. Oh, because it said it's scrapped, and all of a sudden.
Yeah, and that's it. Like you're on the green light now, and
Yep.
fucking they're like that. Like sometimes it was just like kid shit. Sometimes it was just like people. They always want to see somebody on green light.
Right.
Other times it was more serious where people were just talking shit and they were really really disrespectful.
I mean, being out here now, and I hear it from certain people I speak to, like when we watched Beaver's thing, and they said, "Dude, that's some childish ass shit." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's childish, but when you're in there with 70 other fucking gangbangers, it ain't childish anymore. It's fucking dangerous, man."
Oh yeah, well it's immature. That's what it is, and it is childish because we were children,
Right.
and that's what a lot of people ignore is that these were kids doing this shit to each other. So it wasn't like, oh, how could that, like when people would get raped at the time, I would think to myself, this fool's a punk. I can't believe he's going out like that. Because there were people I knew that I thought were solid and shit that I was robbing with on fucking in Truman.
Right.
I went to Hayes. I ended up getting kicked out of Hayes because we kicked too much dust. And then I go to Monroe. I see somebody I thought was my boy and shit. Not from my neighborhood, but he's fucking somewhere else. And I find out he's sucking dick and shit.
Oh, fuck. Oh, man.
Damn. And like back then, I was like, I can't believe this fool went out like that. Like, that's some straight sucker ass shit. But looking back, like, that's a child right there.
Yeah, brother. It was
a child that was fucking scared that they forced to do that. And it was a crazy thing is it was but other children that were doing it to him. So all the way around, it was like corrupting. You know what I mean? It was fucked up, man. Like really fucked up.
It was a fucked up breeding system, but also to me, it seems not looking back that a lot of the staff knew what the fuck was going on with it. They just didn't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, they didn't care. Like a lot of the times, if you kept that shit low, they didn't want to write paperwork. They didn't want to have to do all that. They would just turn a blind eye to that shit. Like when you would have wards being with the girls and shit, like the staff.
Right.
And, like there was one of the homies was, you know, he was seeing a girl right there and shit, and they would argue like boyfriend and girlfriend.
Oh, fuck.
And fucking like he would turn off the TV. She would turn off the TV. Nobody's watching TV, and he would just go over there and undermine her. Fuck that. We're watching TV. Bam. And there'd be another staff there knowing what's happening, and he'd just be like, "I'm not getting in this shit."
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? And we'd just be like, "Oh shit!" Like, and for a while I was tripping out. Like, where the fuck am I? Like, this place is fucking way out. And yeah, you would see that shit a lot. You would see the staff, they'd be bringing in dope and shit. Like they'd be connects. They would just tell you, run a clean program. And that's why a lot of the cats that had been there longer, they would tell me, hey, chill out, fool. Just relax. You know what I mean? Like you're bringing a lot of heat.
Right,
and,
right.
And it's because I didn't do drugs. Like I don't do drugs and shit. I don't drink. I mean, like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Just be here, be a gangster, like just gone quiet? Like, nah, like I got bored, you know what I mean? And I was fucking like, I would get pumped up and I would just say, fuck it, let's do something. Like most of the problems that happened in Nellis were because of me. Like nobody was fucking with my neighborhood was deep.
Right.
Nobody was fucking with me, and I just decided to do stupid shit. I just decided to act out. Maybe there were maybe about 3 or 4 fights in total that I should have been in. Maybe one riot that I should have to engage in, but the rest of it was me. You know what I mean? Like I was just out there acting a fucking fool and shit.
You were banging, homie. You were a young fucking guy in Nellis, and you want to be a gangbanger. Let everybody know who you were.
Hell yeah.
Walk to me the first time you've met Mr. Beaver, the interesting character we just fucking spoke to not too long ago.
So when I got to Nellis, they were like, I was like, do I have any amigas here? They're like, you have 2, one don't bang anymore. So I was like, oh, all right, cool. And they're like, the other one's Beaver from Northside Bowling. And I was like, all right, cool. So Beaver was a hard motherfucker to get to though, because every time like he would hit the school area, like he'd be getting rushed and shit. You know what I mean? And he was, he would have to do his thing. So I figured if I'm gonna get down with this fool, because he shot at my neighborhood and shit. So it was Mando. Like I had to. It was on me. Like I shot at him too, but it was on me to do it. He can't rush everybody he shot at because he shot at half of the fucking institution.
Right.
So I said, hey, well, when does he have this period? They said he has PE or gym. We call it gym. He has gym after first period, second period.
Right.
Yeah. So I just walk and I see him. I'm like, hey, Beaver. And he looks at me. I said, I'm Cricket from Flores. And he already knew the halves, you know what I mean? And but he already had more, he had a little bit more game at that point.
Yeah,
He
he's
just
been there.
threw up his hands and shit. And that's when I just ran towards him. And we just started chunking him and shit. And fuck it, we both didn't really have skills at that point.
Right,
You know
right.
what I mean? Like, I wasn't a knockout artist. I ain't gonna be one of them fools saying, I was knocking everybody. Like, nah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
a
yeah.
motherfucker. I mean, we just basically fucking swang wildly and shit. And staff broke us up. And that was the first time I ever encountered Beaver. After that, I was like, I'm gonna get my run back. So I'm gonna see him again. Never got a bump into him again until after I decided to change and shit. And he actually did me a solid because I had let it be known that I wanted to get down with him again.
Right.
But then I wanted to change after maybe a year and a half, 2 years in there. I kind of was growing up now.
That's right.
I read books and shit, and my perspective changed, you know, and I said, okay. And I actually beat a lockup case, which was a trip, because before you go to lockup, they take you to board.
Right.
And they were basically gonna give me a program failure, say you're done. And at first I didn't care. I was looking forward to like, hell yeah, I'm gonna do my program, and then they're gonna ship me out to YTS and shit. And after I read a book called The Four Agreements.
Okay.
And it really changed my perspective on life. So I said I shouldn't travel down this path anymore. And this is gonna be tricky because I wanted to change, but I didn't know how to change, first of all. And I'm in jail. So I ain't going out like no punk. So basically wrote Beaver a kite like, hey, if I see you, I ain't tripping, dog. Like it's cool. But he could still, you know, he still has the option of saying,
Yeah,
fuck
of course,
you.
of course.
Yeah. And I ended up seeing him afterwards, and he didn't say nothing. And I was like, cool, whatever. Like, it was cool, you know what I mean? So we left it at that.
So
And,
by this time, was Beaver firme raza, or was he still on his status?
He was by that point. And he really did me the bottle because I got new people that were coming in to rush Beaver.
Oh, fuck.
Like new cats, like
Right,
fools
right.
that didn't even know him, fools that had nothing to do with the original problem. I got them to do it just because we like to break our enemies. Any of our enemies from the SGV that were there, we try to make them stop banging. And Beaver was there when the first fool stopped banging. He was there when the second one stopped banging. He was there when the third one stopped banging. And I think there were a few times where Beaver thought like one of them's gonna make it out. And there was one time where I was in the orientation cottage, and one of my enemies rolled up, and that fool busted my nose. You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going out, so I fucking suck in some of the blood and spit that shit in his face. Like, fool, you ain't getting me like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I told that fool, like, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks to stop banging. You don't stop banging, we could get down every fucking day we're here. Fool, we ain't gonna have rec. You know what I mean? We're gonna post up by the handball courts. We're gonna catch a fade every day. And those 2 weeks came up, and I told him, hey, it's time to post up, dog. He's like, let me talk to Risky. So I'm chilling. It's crazy because I'm talking to Risky from Colonia. He's talking to Risky from Florencia.
Right.
And then I tell Risky, like, hey, shit's getting fucking late. Like, I'm gonna go snatch this fool up. I'm gonna fucking rush him right here. I'm gonna rush him in the yard. I'm gonna rush him in the yard. And I walk up, and he's talking to Risky from Florencia. And he's like, hey, Risky wants to tell you something.
Oh.
Like, what's up, Risky? Hey, Risky's like, this fool don't want to bang anymore.
Oh, man.
And I was like, oh, hell yeah. Like, we broke him. Cool. So I threw him under the guns, threw a fuck, put him under my guns, and that was it. His career was done. And that happened a few times. Beaver saw that shit, but Beaver he didn't see that actual event, but he saw these people come in, and he saw them drop. And that shit wasn't going to happen to him. You know what I mean? So
Beaver was over here pretty much fighting a couple times a week all the time. I could gather, right?
Daily.
Okay. It was that bad for that guy. And was it like the Jackal syndrome that all you guys were just fucking like, we're gonna break this fool, we're gonna break him, or what was it?
Well, it was more like, all right. So it was more like you have a chip on your shoulder, right?
Okay.
And you do want to break them, but also you don't want anyone disrespecting you. And Beaver, by continuing to bang, at least for a lot of us, felt that it was disrespectful to us. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how are you gonna coexist with us? You know what I mean? And so that's why, like, when new people would come in, and I didn't give a fuck, I'll tell them, hey, I'll shoot at one of your enemies if you shoot at one of mine. Well, mine's here. And they're
Now
like,
explain to people exactly what shoot at your enemy. I know you said it on our thing, but break it down a little bit more because people just don't understand the concept of that at all.
yeah, so shooting there isn't actual guns, there isn't bullets or anything. The bullets are more verbal. So I'll give you an example. I'll get this water right here, right? So I'll tell this water, fuck your dead shit, water, right? Bam, I shot at that water verbally. What that means is that I disrespected that water's dead family. I disrespected that water's dead homies, right?
Right.
So if anybody is from the same gang as that water, I gotta fight with everybody from that gang. And if he has any cousins there that are from different gangs, I still gotta fight them because I shot at his dead shit, which is his dead family. Now, if I know water has a family there that I don't want beef with, I'm just gonna shoot at his dead homies. Fuck your dead homies, water.
Okay.
Or if I'm cool with his homies, but he's trying to be dirty and shit, and I want it on sight, then I'm gonna shoot at his family. Fuck your dead family, water. You know what I mean? So, but if I say fuck your dead shit, that's everything.
That's everything. So,
And they shot at Beaver, and Beaver rejected it. And so that shit was like, oh, you shot at Monte Flores? What the fuck you thinking? So I wasn't even there. Beaver was there before me.
right.
But I got there and I just went along like, fuck that shit. Like,
Yeah,
ain't
of
nobody
course.
in the neighborhood. I'm from Monte Flores, so we can do this. And yeah, so I would get other people to jump on him, and it was fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, it's a fucking crazy story, man. I mean, it's almost an unbelievable story, but I mean, you were there firsthand with this guy, and it's everything he's saying is absolutely true, brother.
And I even told him, because I chop it up with Beaver every now and then.
Right.
And I told him, like, man, like, we wanted to break you, we couldn't, and I respect that shit. Like, nobody could tell me anything. Like, Beaver was a case. Beaver said, I'll say fuck no to me. Like, I don't know what the fuck you saw. You know what I mean? Like, I can never speak a bad word about that man. You know what I mean? What makes it even more likable now is that he's not even doing anything negative. He's trying to take shit positive route, where he could have had hostile feelings towards everybody.
Fuck yeah. Yes.
He could have went crazy and shit, but nah, he handled his business time and time again, and he got out, and he turned that tragedy into comedy. And,
That's right.
And that's what makes a great comic. You know what I mean?
That's right, brother. That's right.
I even told him, I said, if you make it, it's like all of us make it. For the fact that he's Chicano, and I'm from the SGV.
Right.
Our Valle isn't really fucking. We don't have a lot of celebrities out there, so it's like
we have big beeves, homeboy.
Yeah. So I told him, you make it, it's like all of us make it, because there ain't no famous people from the SGV like that.
That's right. No, you know what? I think Beave's got a lot of big things in his future, homie. Hopefully, we can all support him, brother.
I'm rooting for him 100%.
So now, let's keep going with this. When you said you read that book, you were in Nellis now maybe a year and a half. What started changing in you mentally?
There was a passage, and I butcher the passage every time I read it, right?
Okay.
But it basically says that life is a bunch of concepts, right?
Right.
And it said, are you going to, those concepts are given to you. So if you're a bad kid, you're going to take all the character traits that come with a bad kid based on those concepts. So it said, are you the way you are because you want to be that way? Or are you that way because you're embracing those concepts? And I started thinking to myself, do I want to be in jail? Like, because I thought I wanted to go to Pelican Bay and do my thing. And that was my mindset. And I started wondering, do I want to be in fucking jail for the rest of my life? And I wasn't one of those cats that was like I didn't hate lockup. Like, to me, that shit was cool. Like, we're chilling and shit. I don't got to do shit. I don't got to get up to go to school. I don't got to do nothing. I'm chilling. They give me motherfucking room service, right? That's the way I looked at it. Like, I don't got to get up to go to chow early. Like, these motherfuckers come to my door.
Right.
So I was like, this shit's cool. I'm just chilling and shit. But I started thinking, is this what I want for the rest of my life? And I said, no, I don't want that. I decided I don't want that. And then that's when they took me to board, and they were going to give me a program failure. Send me I was going to have to remain in lockup, and then they were going to probably ship me to YTS as soon as I turn 18.
Right.
And I told them, like, I said, I got to speak up for myself, right? So they're like, you're facing a lockup program. Do you have anything to say for yourself? I said, yeah. I don't think this is the best option for me. I said, if you guys are true, if this is really about rehabilitation, I think that I would be best suited at a pre-parole cottage. They looked at me like, what the fuck? Well, you're in lockup. You know what I mean? Like, you're nowhere near pre-parole. And I told them, I got my GED. I have not learned anything here. And I think with the right skills, the right skill set, the right training, I can be a benefit to society. I told them, I really think that I have the ability to do that. I don't think that keeping me in lockup is going to do that. I don't think sending me to YTS is going to do that. And my parole agent, Miss Hood, is like, I would never go against my original recommendation, but I believe him. And the board just said, fuck it. We're sending you to Tyler, the pre-pro cottage. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, that shit worked. And yeah, they sent me straight from fucking from lockup to the pre-parole cottage. And I thought I was gonna go back to my cottage, Monroe,
right,
and pick up my shit, but nah, they just fucking UPS that shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, fucking send that shit over to me.
Right.
And even when I got there, the staff were like, what the fuck? You coming straight from fucking Nixon?
Yeah.
I started working a thing called facility planning, where you basically fix up the institution like with real construction workers and shit.
Right.
So I learned like electrical work, and I started working a lockup, which was cool because I always felt more of a connection with the fuck ups. Right. Like, just because I wasn't choosing to be a fuck up anymore, like I still felt a connection to them. So I would go in there and just try to make it as easy as possible. You know what I mean? And fucking I'd work all day. So I was working all fucking day. From when I woke up, I do facility planning. At night, I work lockup, and my day was just work. And like I said, like my parents weren't sending me money and shit. Right. My parents, like they couldn't even visit me often. Like my grandma would come to visit me, but my mom and dad, they had their own shit going on. Like they were homeless again. Wow. They had the kids taken away, and I wasn't there for any of that shit. Like I was doing my time. So fucking, like, I understood, like, and even people would tell me, you don't get mad that your parents don't see you. And I told them like this, I said, hey, I put myself in jail. They didn't put me in jail. Like, that's on me. That ain't on them. And so I started working. I started getting money. And fucking, yeah, so it was real cool. Like, I was able to support myself. I didn't have to do any
so did you parole at Nellis?
Nah. I got talked into going to a fire camp. Yeah, they said it's fucking the shit, and you'll lift weights, and because I was skinny as fuck. Okay. And I was like, it's time to get cut. Like, I haven't did shit in jail when it came to my physique. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna go to fire camp. So I go to fire camp, and as soon as I get to fire camp, they say your YA number. Everybody's saying the YA number, and mine was before everybody's. And the staff is like, that's an older YA number. Where are you a violator? I was like, nah, I'm coming from another institution. He said, where are you coming from? I said, I'm coming from Nellis. And he says, you ain't gonna make it. And I was like, what you mean I ain't gonna make it? Like, I'm here, like, I'm gonna do this. He goes, you guys from Nellis aren't built for this. He says, you guys don't listen. I'm going on vacation. When I come back, you're gonna be on your way out of here. And I said, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And nah, I didn't prove him wrong. Fuck no. Like, I went to the first, like, I hated running. They made you run everywhere. You had to stand on silent. There was just all kinds of shit. I was like, man, fuck this shit. And I ended up failing twice. One of the modules. It's like handling tools. It's so fucking simple. Right, I didn't do it right. So they're like, you failed. So you have to start back from the beginning. And the beginning was all fucking running. And I said, hell no, I ain't doing that shit again. And they're like, you could do it. You do it, or you're gonna have to transfer out. You can't go. I was like, fuck it, send me back down south. And I said, send me back to Nellis. They said, you're too old to go to Nellis. I said, I was just there, whatever. I said, fuck it, send me to YTS. And they're like, hey, you got your GED, because I have my GED and shit. Like, you got your GED. Right. Go to DeWitt. DeWitt's a better option. Like, you'll learn a trade and this and that. But I was like, hell no, I don't want to be no fucking Stockton. Yeah, it's just fucking far as fuck. Yeah. I was like, nah. All my boys are in fucking YTS. Like, we were deep as fuck in YTS. I said, send me back down south. Like, all right, man. So they sent me fucking to YTS and shit, shackled me up again. And you know what's crazy about my actual trip up to Preston? Okay. Because it's in Preston. Is when I get on the bus, like, I'm fucking introducing myself, Cricket from Flores. And then I heard somebody, I'm Stomper from Northside Bowling. And I'm like, oh shit, is this shit gonna rock and roll right now, right?
Right,
And,
right.
but now we're both going up to Preston, and you're up there with Norteños and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So back then there was like major animosity and shit, and we had to stick together. And he ended up being cool as fuck. Stomper was real cool. So fucking we were just we would chill with each other mainly. We're from the SGV and shit. So we would chill and shit, and fucking we both made it to YTS. We both ended up seeing each other at YTS. And that shit was something way different than Nellis, because that's when you had people coming from prison.
Right.
So we had I was in YTS, Stomper from Northside Bowling, and homies came from the joint, and it was Danger from Eastside Bowling. So 3 enemies, all in the same cottage. You know, just chilling and shit.
Yeah, homie.
Fucking and it was different. There were some homies that were still banging in there because they didn't come from up north. They came from like Nellis or Paso. Right. So they were still fucking gang banging and shit. But me, I had already been up north with Stomper, so I ain't gonna be tripping out now. Like all of a sudden, like to me that shouldn't make any sense. And Danger, yeah, came from the joint, so he ain't tripping on that shit.
Yeah,
you know, he's doing his own thing. So after that, I just said, cool. Like I'm gonna try to just program, do 9 months here, and get the fuck out, like parole. And that shit was harder than I thought it'd be, but miraculously, I pulled that shit off.
That's right. Now, how much time did you end up doing altogether when you got busted and went to Nellis?
4 years.
You did 4 years, huh? So after you're doing your 4 years, you go through your crazy journey. You're coming out on parole. Talk to me how the transition back to the real world was coming out of YA.
Well, actually, one thing that I left out that made me want to do better is on my 20th birthday, 2 weeks before I got out, I was called to the chaplain, to Catholic chaplain. I went over to the Catholic chaplain, and he told me, I have bad news for you. Your grandma just died. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, she was the one that was, like, always there for me. She would come visit me when she would come. Like, she wasn't rich at all. You know what I mean? Like, she had no fucking money, but she would collect change from my other family members to make sure that I ate. Oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like, she wanted to make sure that I ate. And even before I would always fuck with her. I'd be like, oh, you're a chola, grandma. You're a chola. I hate cholos. And fucking, she would get all mad and shit. And she would tell me, mijo, stop shaving your head. You look like one of those bad guys and this and that, right? And I would tell her, grandma, I am a bad guy. And she'd say, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I said, I am, grandma, I am. And she really wanted me to change, you know what I mean? And she died. She never got to see me change. And it was 2 weeks before I got out. And I started thinking, and I was in the room by myself because my bunkie got caught up for slicing somebody. Right. So fucking I didn't have a bunkie at the time, and I had a lot of time to think. And I said, man, that's fucked up. Like if I would have gotten one less fight, like fuck the riots and all that shit, one less fight that I provoked, I could have got out. Like I would have been out already. Right. And like one less robbery, if I could have just took back one fucking thing. I could have been out. Because most of that time, like I was only supposed to do 18 months. Oh, wow. You know, and I turned that shit to 4 years, and which isn't much compared to a lot of other people. Right. But fucking like it was enough. It was enough that I missed out on seeing my grandmother put to rest, saying goodbye. She never, and it hurt more me thinking about her because she didn't get to say goodbye to me. Like for me, I deserved that shit. I was where I was. Like fuck it, like I don't deserve shit. You know what I mean? But for her, she deserved to at least say goodbye. And I robbed her of that opportunity. Wow. And that really, that really got to me. So when I got out, I said, I'm going to try to make a change. And it was difficult. I get out, and as soon as I get out, my boy was waiting for me. Same fucking day. You know what I mean? Like, he's at my house before I'm there. Right. And he's like, what's up, G? How you been? I'm like, I'm good, man. And he was a tow truck driver, so he was doing good. My mom and dad had a job, so they were doing good. So I kind of came out at the right time because my parents were sober. My boy was doing good. But I still got caught up a little bit because other homies were around, and they were like, Cricket's out. What's up, fool? What's up? And they were at the pad, and we'd be chilling at the pad. We'd be on the streets and shit. And as soon as I see the cops, boom, I'm booking it because I'm on parole. Right. Like fucking, I have another 5 years of parole. So I'm fucking booking it every chance I got. And my boy, shortly after I got out, he got killed. And it was fucked up because he was doing well for himself. And I remember thinking like, man, I wish I would have just took that bullet for him because I wasn't there. But I was like, I wish it would have just been me because I don't got nothing going for me right now.
Right.
Like I'm fresh out of jail. Like he had his whole life ahead of him. He was doing well. And I don't have shit. And I found out my girl was pregnant. And I had a decision to make. Like, am I gonna let my kids see what I seen growing up? You mean the drug use, the violence? Because my mom and dad, like, they would go at it. Like, I seen some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like, they try to kill each other multiple times in front of me. I see my mom strangle my dad till he coughed up blood. You know what I mean? Like he was laying down like this on a bed, and she just jumped on his shoulders and started fucking choking him until he started coughing up blood. And I still remember the smell of iron. You know what I mean? Like that shit stuck with me. And I see my dad shank my mom. You know what I mean? Like they would go at it. Like they weren't playing. Like fucking. So I grew up seeing all that shit, and I had to make a choice. Do I want to continue this cycle?
That's right.
And because my mom had it bad too. You know, her parents were, or not her parents, both of her parents, but her mom was a heroin addict, and so she's seen all kinds of fucked up shit growing up. So I was like, do I want this to continue? And I decided, nah. So I got a job, started going to school and shit, and just fucking little by little, like shit took care of itself. Like I had homies, they would come to the house, but my mom would be like, oh, he's working right now, he's at school. So they would leave, and they just started coming less and less because they started going back to the joint.
Right.
Like they started getting, you know, they started going back, and like fucking nobody ever told me anything or nothing. Like they respected my decision and shit, but it was hard. It was real hard.
No, I think we're always our own worst enemy when it comes to stuff like that. Most homies, really, if they see you doing good, if they're real homies, they're gonna be like, "Good for him, man." You know.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So, out of most of those guys in YA you were with, some of the homies you grew up, how many actually made it? How many guys you end up seeing actually go to prison? Or heard they went to prison, died.
A lot of homies went to prison. Most of them, I'd say, the recidivism rate by the time I got out was 90%.
Right.
So 90% of the people that got out reoffended. And that was a tough fucking pill to swallow. It was a fucking tightrope. It's like you're walking a tightrope too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, man, I could go back at any time. And even when I was trying to do well, like I had got a job at Bank of America, and fucking like I had no business being there. You know what I mean? But like just like I said when I went to that board, and I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna go for it. I'm just gonna talk. I'm gonna see what I could do. Same thing. I went over there and I interviewed in a fucking like a fucking button-up shirt with some fucking slacks and some motherfucking lugs, like I'm going to a fucking cholo club and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said, fuck, I didn't know how to dress. I didn't know how to do none of that shit. But I said, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And I was working for Bank of America while I was on parole. And cops didn't give a fuck. They didn't care about none of that shit. Every time I'd be driving, they'd pull me over. They'd pull me over with my brother. My little brother Bangs too. He's from the neighborhood.
Right.
And I remember one time it was me. He wanted a ride, so I took him. One of his boys that don't even bang. It's just a young homie that we knew, like growing up. My boy,
Right.
my brother's boy, and my son in the car seat. We're driving, and the cops pull us over, and they're like, "Everybody out the car," and they were just fucking with me. And I'm like, "Man, these motherfuckers, man!" And they're like, "Are you supposed to be chilling with him? He's a known gang member." I said, "That's my brother."
Oh fuck.
And they're like, "Yeah, but are you supposed to be around known gang members? Is it a violation if you hang around with them?" I said, I doubt it because we live in the same house. My parole agent, he knows we live in the same house. And if I wake up, that's a violation because we're in the same house.
Right.
Well, I would check with your parole officer. I'm like, what a fucking dick. Like, they would just always fuck with me. Like, every time I'm driving and shit. So I was just like, man, I kind of had still that resentment towards them because I was like, I'm trying to do better for myself. I'm not even out there on the streets like that. But every chance I got, they were pulling me over. And I tried to get off parole too. But by that point, the population had dwindled down. So they were they were like, nah, we can't let you off. We need you.
Yeah, your money.
Yeah, they needed me on their caseload. So I was like, this is fucked up. Like I even went to my board a year before thinking that I could speak up.
Right.
But nah, they didn't want to hear that shit like that. It didn't work that time.
Did they keep you on parole until you hit 25?
Yeah, they kept me on until I hit 25.
That long, huh?
I went 5 years.
Yeah.
With no violations. No violations. No fucking police contact. Like maybe the first 6 months, that was me just fucking getting lucky and shit. But for the rest of the time, I was working. I had kids. I had a job for years. By the time I got off parole, I had 2 kids. Like fucking, we were in a whole nother ball. I got married. Like things were way. I was a whole different person. Well, not a whole different person, but I was a different person.
Yeah, of course.
When I went in. But they didn't want to see any of that. They all they cared about was the fact that they needed to make money off of this. So it is what it is. I just said fuck it. Like I know the game they play.
So now you're finally getting off parole. How's life going for you at that age, at 25?
25. It was challenging in a way because my identity was like my own identity for myself was called into question. Okay. I started wondering, who am I? I don't fit in all the way at work because I'm from the streets, and these cats, they don't see people like me, right? But then again, I can't be out there on the streets with my boys. I was like, if I do, I'm going back to jail.
Right.
And sometimes my pops would call me up, and we would need to handle some business, and I'd be out there like, all right, well, I got you. We'll chunk them with whoever you need. Whoever you need and shit.
Right.
And so that went on for a while and shit. Like where I didn't really know. I have kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, like kind of really lukewarm, like half-assing shit. And I ended up having 2 other kids afterwards. I had 2 already with my wife. We ended up having 2 more.
Okay.
And my last one was born with cerebral palsy, and it was, she had an encephalocele. She had like a part of her brain didn't close, or her skull didn't close. So she had to have surgery and shit. So it was difficult because we didn't know what it was at first. At first, they didn't even tell us what that was. We thought it was a pimple. And I remember thinking, I'll just pop that shit. My wife was like, you better not. You know what I mean? And we didn't find out till she was 11 months old what it was. She took her to surgery. And that was one of the scariest fucking moments of my life because we had to hold her until they sedated her. And when they sedate her, like her body just goes limp immediately. So imagine that, like you're holding your almost looking lifeless child in your arms. You know what I mean? And that was really fucking like that fucked me up. And so we went through that. And one day she gets out of the hospital, everything's successful. She ends up having seizures because of what happened.
Yes.
And so now she has epilepsy and developmental delays.
Right.
So she isn't going to have what people would consider a normal life. She's always going to be dependent on my wife and I.
Right.
And my pops calls me one day. He's like, bald man. He's calling me bald man and shit. It's stupid too, because there's in the 90s, there was this spray called bod man, right?
Yeah.
And they used to call me baldy. So he said, bald man. I used to use that shit like a motherfucker. He's like, that's bald man right there. That's bald man. So fuck it up. He's like, bald man. I'm gonna need you to help me out with something. They're tripping on your sister, and we need to go over there. I was like, all right, cool. So I'm putting on my shoes. I'm getting ready to go. And my wife's like, where are you going? I said, I got to go handle some shit real fast. Don't trip. I'll be back. And she's like, what if you don't come back? So what the fuck you talking about? I'll be back, Rosie. Don't even worry about it. I'm going to go over there, handle this shit. I'll be right back. And she's like, what if something happens to you? I said, nothing's going to happen, man. It's a simple fucking fight. Don't worry. We're good. And she's like, what if they snitch on you? I said, why did they snitch on you? She said, you went to jail for somebody snitching on you. I'm like, yeah, you got me there. You know what I mean? Like, all right.
Right.
I was like, nah, but I'm going to handle this shit. And she goes, okay. I tell you what. She's like, you could go, but don't come back.
Ándale.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, you're tripping, baby. Like, I'm not going to leave my dad on the hang. And she said, are you going to leave us on the hang?
Yes, sir.
And that's when I was like, why? Like, fuck. Like, I said, all right, man. And I swear, when you talk about humility, like right there, I was humbled like a motherfucker because I had to pick up the phone and call my dad and tell him, Dizad, let's call him Dizad, hey, I'm sorry, man, I can't make it. He's like, for real, bald man? I was like, yeah. It's like, I got too much shit going on with the kids and shit. And he's like, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. He's like, take care of the kids. I'm like, all right. And I felt like a fucking coward, man. Wow. I felt like a straight fucking coward. Like, man, I can't believe this shit. But I wasn't, you know what I mean? Like that was a thing I had to do. And it was humbling at the time. I felt like, man, like I that's it. I lost everything. Like from the streets, like I got none of that shit now. Like what did I do? You know what I mean? Like, fuck, man. Like, I don't even, like, for sure, I don't know who I am. And what made it worse is around that time, my daughter started having, she had this thing called hand, foot, and mouth disease, right?
Okay.
It's like just little bumps and shit, right? You could normally see it, but for her, she got it inside of her mouth. So we didn't know. And we would take her in to the doctors. The doctors were like, she's fine, don't worry about it. And we'd be like, nah, she's not. Like, days would go by, she looked worse. She looked worse and worse and worse. We kept taking her to the ER. And finally we took her to the children's hospital. And they looked in, they go, she has like hand, foot, and mouth disease, but inside. And she needs to be hospitalized. She's deteriorating. And she refused to eat. Like, it burned so much that she just passed on that shit. Like, nah, I ain't gonna eat. So she was starving herself to death. Like, and it was fucked up. Like, she wouldn't move at all. She would just lay there, like, starving, fucking dehydrating and shit. And they had to put tubes up her nose to give her the proper fluids, the proper nutrients. And they gave her a surgery. She's fed through a G tube now. And it was rough. Like, I was in the hospital. I got to the point where I had no fucking money because I had to be in the hospital. Like, FMLA covered my job, but I wasn't getting paid. I didn't have any money. And I think one of the most humbling things of my life is I don't know how to cook, right?
Right.
And I had stood in the hospital with my daughter for a while, so we switched off. As my wife went and I went back home, and my kids were like, "Dad, I'm hungry." And I was like, "Oh, fuck, I don't know what to eat. Like, I don't know what to do, right?" Yeah. And I didn't know how to cook, and I didn't have any money at all.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do, man?" And I was like, "All right, give me a minute. I gotta go to the bathroom." So I go to the bathroom and I just break down, like, fuck, man, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, right? And I fucking just like bawling like a fucking little, like, like just emotional, you know what I mean? Like, fuck, like, how am I gonna feed these kids? Like, I failed. Like, I fucking failed, man. Like, I don't have a backup plan for this. What am I gonna do? Feeling sorry for myself and shit, right? And then I hear knocking, Dad, are you almost finished? We're hungry. So that woke me up, like, man, fuck that shit. You know what I mean? Get the fuck up. You know what I mean? So I got up, like, I ain't gonna fucking go out like that. It's like, I'm gonna find a way. And but I knew it had to be legal. See, that's the tricky part, right? I'm not. It's like I'm in a fucking position where my back's against the wall, and I can't go slanging dope. I can't go robbing somebody. What am I gonna do? So I looked around and I bought a drum machine because I rap and shit.
Right.
Bought a drum machine and I said, I'm gonna cluck this motherfucker, man. I went to the pawn shop, clucked it, and fucking got like $80. So that was enough to get them a little something for a few days. After that, my unemployment came in after that, but it was humbling because it's like I had no idea what I'm gonna do, and I had to break down. You know what I mean? But their knocks and their needs gave me the strength to continue.
That's right.
So I got up, and after that, I just said, it's on, like, fucking never again. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that. I have to be able to stay strong at all fucking times. And my daughter ended up getting better. They gave her the surgery. She got fed through the tube, and, like, I remember seeing her, like, back to life almost. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like,
that's right.
Like, we did this shit. Like, she's a fucking rider. Like, she fought that shit out. And it was a proud moment in my life because I was like, yeah, she did that. Like, I knew she could fucking do it.
That's right.
Yeah.
So,
and,
so this is all going on. How's your daughter doing now, by the way?
She just passed the 10-year mark. She's
nice.
Over 10 years old, which is good because when we found out the kind of seizures she had, they told us a lot of kids don't make it past 10 years old. Wow. So don't be surprised. You know what I mean? And that was difficult. So unfortunately, it happened around this coronavirus time. So we didn't get to celebrate the way we wanted to, but as soon as we're done, like, we're gonna celebrate this shit because
we'll throw her a big birthday party.
She's been through a few other journeys. That wasn't her last hospitalization, but every time she came out a motherfucking winner. I mean, she's a fighter, and she got that shit from her mama. You know what I mean?
So you went through your own trials and tribulations with health. I heard that you were once a big guy. How'd that come about?
I could be a little better right now, and I'm working on that. But when with all this happening, right? Like I said, I lost my identity. I didn't know who I was. I'm depressed because of my daughter.
I was 8 years old. My dad had went to prison, so I thought to myself, like, I don't want my kids to see what I seen growing up. I'm the sole provider. because my daughter has special needs and she needs 24-hour care. When my daughter got the feeding tube, maybe about 5 years ago now, I went into a deep, deep depression. My comfort was sitting on the couch watching TV, eating. And before I know it, I'm almost 300
I
pounds.
can't even face my dad. You know what I mean? It's like fucking, I could see him, but it was not the same. I feel, you know what I mean? I don't feel the same as shit. So all I would do is just fast food. And that would give me like that was like my high. It would give me dopamines. I would feel relieved. I would feel that stress going away. All those bills adding up, you know, hospital bills, all the rent, fucking when I don't go to work, you know, all that shit adding up, just got to me. And so I said, fuck it. You know, I just start eating and watching TV. That's my escape, eating and watching TV. Before I know it, I'm about 250. All right. I'm about 260, 270, 280, 290, almost 300 fucking pounds. You know what I mean? And I'm like, damn, like I don't even recognize myself anymore. I'm like, this is fucked up. And I told my wife, like, they're gonna chop off my fucking leg, man. I'm gonna get diabetes and they're gonna chop off my fucking leg because I can't control myself. And she said, just work out. And it's fucked. Like my girl, she could work out and she'll have like a little belly, right?
Yeah.
She could work out for like a week and bam, 6-pack. I'm like, fuck. So she's working out and I'm seeing results. But I'm 300 pounds, right? I'm working out and I just see fat. You know what I mean? Like I'm still fat. Like what the fuck? And that would be discouraging to me. Like I'm like, how's my girl gonna be better at me than this? You know what I mean? Like this is fucked up. And I didn't know how to channel like the right way of doing shit. So I just gave up and fucking I'll continue eating and shit. And finally we got lucky because we stopped watching we finished binging on Breaking Bad.
Okay.
Yeah, we're like, hell yeah. Like we were satisfied with the ending and shit. And we seen a fucking advertisement we're looking to see what show we should go on.
Right.
Not going to go on, but we should watch.
Right.
A show called Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian.
Right.
And I see like some people complaining like it's too hard for them. And I see other people's like pretty inspiring stories and shit, right? And I tell my girl like, man, if I were to go on there, I would never fucking complain. Like I'll kill that shit.
Right.
And she's like, you should go on there. And like, I'll sign up. You know what I mean? So I signed up and about a year or two later, like they called me back and I was just surprised like a motherfucker. And I'm not lying. Like the first time they called me, I didn't recognize the numbers. They're like, can we talk to Javier Goza? And I was like, who's this? And they said they're with like Atlas. I forgot the name of that shit, right? But they don't say like Revenge Body. They say like the name of the production company. Right. I didn't recognize it. Go, oh, you got the wrong number. And I hung up because I thought it was a bill collector. And fuck it up. But I ended up checking the voice. They left the voicemail because they called me when I was at work too. Right. And it's like this is such and such with Rogue Atlas. We do a casting for Revenge Body with Khloe Kardashian. I was like, oh shit, I hung up on the wrong people. So I call them back, and they were interested because they said they never had somebody from the street, like be on this kind of a show, and they're like, we're not used to your kind of story. You know what I mean? Like, would you be willing to tell your story? And I was like, yeah, I'll be willing to do that. So they called me. They and the lady, she told me like, you might not make it in, but you have to be able to talk to these people and they'll decide. Right. So you gotta sell it. Yeah. So they put me with some producers and it's like an interview and shit, like kind of like this, and telling my story. And at that point, me and my pops weren't seeing eye to eye at all. Like I had told that fool like, we're done. Like me and you no more. Like a lot of it was based on my insecurities because he was drinking again. Right. And so we couldn't have a real conversation. Like we couldn't see eye to eye. So I was like, we're done. Like that's it. And they brought up, how was your relationship with your parents? And that shit just got to me. You know what I mean? Like I guess it's cool. And like, how was it with your dad? And I started breaking down. You know what I mean? Like fuck. Like I can't believe this fool. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, we love this story and shit. Fucking So I talked to the executive producer after like a few weeks later, and she was like, if you're on the story, you're gonna have to do it about your dad. I was like, oh, I don't know about that because he's from the streets. Like, he don't want to be on fucking TV. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know about that, right? But I told him, all right, fuck it. And my plan was just like, I'll tell them whatever they want to hear just so I could be on the show. Right. And I didn't even care about being on TV. Like, honestly, I don't give a fuck about being on TV. But I wanted to lose weight. Right. And I didn't have the resources that they have. And so I agreed to it. And they put me on the show and shit. And I got to meet Khloe Kardashian. That was a trip, you know what I mean? And after that, they told me like you're gonna get your first workout, and that was an experience in itself. Like I get to the gym, and I don't know what's going on, right? I just see people boxing, like
Right.
I'm like, cool. And I walk up to somebody because they didn't tell me shit. They just told me walk over there. So I walk up to somebody like, hey, I'm looking for my trainer. He's like, oh, I'm your trainer. I was like, cool. And I see people boxing in the ring. I said, hey, they're doing some pretty good body work. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, we're gonna wrap you up right now. You're on there next. And I was like, all right, cool. Like just like that. Like, all right, cool. And the producers, they didn't like that shit. They were like, he just told you you're going there with one of those two guys because they're both 6'4". I know both of the guys now. It's
Right.
Leon and Dustin.
Right.
And they're both 6'4", big motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he just told you you're going in there with one of those big guys and you're just all right. I told him, I don't give a fuck. I'll fight anybody. That shit don't fucking scare me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're like, all right. And they did it again. And they wrapped me up. And I swear, like, I didn't know Leon yet. That's my motherfucking brother now. You know what I mean?
That's
Like I didn't know him back then. But I just see this ripped motherfucker. He looked young to me, probably because of the way he was acting. Because he's like, oh, I'm about to hit this kid. I'm about to work this man. This and that, right? And I'm like, this motherfucker is too cocky. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm gonna fuck this fool up. You know what I mean? Like, he's not gonna see this shit coming. And so he has headgear.
Right.
I don't have any headgear. They just put me on with the fucking cup, right?
Right.
And I didn't know anything about boxing. All I know is I'm gonna knock this motherfucker out, right? And the bell rings, ding ding ding, and I'm fucking working. I think I'm working. I'm boom boom. I'm hitting him, boom boom, and I'm getting him, right? And he's like, "That's all you got. That's all you got." And boom boom. He's hitting me in the body because I don't have the headgear on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck. That shit started to hurt, right?
Yeah.
Fucking like, I'm not lying, 30 seconds into it, I'm like, oh, fuck, I can't breathe. Like, breathe, man. And he's like, that's all you got. That's all you got. So I'm trying to chunk him with him. And then the bell rings, ding, ding, ding. I'm like, cool. Like, I made it out that shit. This old cocky little motherfucker, right? And I'm thinking like, man, what? This fool's going to find out later. And he's like, that's all he got. That's all he got. I want another one. I thought you said you were a fighter. This motherfucker ain't no fighter. And I was like, what, fool? I was like, all right, dog, don't even trip. So we go at it again, boom, boom, and again, whack, 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 same result. Ain't nothing changed. I'm still 300 fucking pounds, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's just hitting me, and I'm like, oh, fuck. And I find out that your arms start to get real fucking heavy after a while. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
on the streets, they never get like that. When you're chunking up, they don't get that heavy. And they start feeling real fucking heavy. It's only your legs. Every time you get hit, like your body just wants to drop. But I got too much pride for that shit. So the bell fucking rings again, ding, ding, ding. And then the producers, they don't like that I'm still in the. To me, it seemed like they didn't like that I was still in the ring. They wanted some drama. So they're like, keep going.
They wanted you to break.
Fuck, huh?
They wanted you to break.
Yeah, and they were like, keep going. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know how much more I could take of this shit, right? So I take a round off. I'm just like trying to play defense and not hitting and shit, just trying to catch my. And the bell rings and they fucking separate us. And I'm like, cool. Like, I finally hopefully I get to start working out now because I still think we're gonna work out. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know what the hell's going on.
Right.
And then Leon's just like, he's scared. He's scared. Shit. He's fucking running. You see him running? He don't want none. He don't want. And fuck, I got fucking mad. You know, like, man, I'm gonna knock this motherfucker out, man, right? And he's going easier on me, but like he's taunting me.
Right.
So hit me in the ribs, like, what you got? What you got? You know what I mean? And that's the same. It reminded me of YA because the same shit motherfuckers would do when you get the advantage on them. You start whooping, right?
Right.
And when you try to demoralize them, you try to break them. And I'm like, man, I ain't going for that shit. But I see what he's doing. He's hitting me and he's in my face, right? So I was like, all right, cool. I got this motherfucker. So he's like, what you got? And boom, I hit that motherfucker hard. I knocked out his mouthpiece, right?
Yeah.
And fucking, so I knocked it. They caught that shit on camera too. I knocked his mouthpiece out. And he's like, and I'm like, hell yeah, he's going down. He turns his head. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. Fuck, that's all I had. You know what I mean? So we're getting down again. We go another 3 rounds. And I remember telling them too, like, watch when we get to week 6. Watch when we get to week 7.
Right.
coming back, and he's like, do it now. And fuck, and after that, like 7 rounds, they stopped it. And I remember, this is crazy because I don't know if he remembers this at all, but he was like, take a knee. I got to talk to you real quick. And I stood on my feet because I'm already knowing like the mind games from YA and shit.
Right.
Like if I go on my feet, he could snake on me. I mean, if I go on my knees, he could snake on me. He could try to play me. He could try to put me in a situation where I got stupid. So I stood standing. So he dropped to his knee first. Like, come on, take a knee.
Right.
When he dropped, I took one, and he's like, my name's Leon Azabuke, and I'm your trainer. Like, I thought I was fighting some young punk, you know what I mean? And he just said, I want to see where your heart's at. You got a heart, man. And he goes, and you're going to need heart for these next fucking, I forgot, I think it was 12 weeks. Yeah, for these next
So how much weight did you end up losing when you started the show?
56 pounds on the show.
56 pounds. And if for anybody who's in the same struggle, I think a lot of Latinos especially are in the struggle of eating, not eating correctly, and overweight, myself included. It's a fight. What is your advice to somebody trying to lose weight and keep it off?
My advice is to make it routine. You can't look at it like it's a chore. You can't look at it like it's something that you don't want to do. Find something you do want to do, right? And a lot of it has to do with eating too. Yeah. You have to be able to eat right. You have to be able to consume water. And like, I find a big problem with people, and this was me for a long time, is that you can't do something. You're like, I can't do that, right? Or I want to do 100 push-ups today, and it's like you get to fucking 15, and you're like, oh, I'm done, right? And it's what I learned is if you can't work out to lose weight, you have to work out to achieve a goal, right? So if you can't do 200 push-ups, work on doing 200 push-ups. By the time you get to easily be able to do 200 push-ups, I guarantee you're going to see a dramatic change in yourself, right? If you can't do a full squat, do a squat on the chair, and then work towards doing a regular squat. By the time you get to that regular squat, I guarantee you're going to see a transformation in yourself. So we often work towards losing weight. We need to work toward changing our abilities. That's the main thing that I've learned, is work towards changing your abilities. Once you do that, it'll take care of itself.
That's right. So now we're fast forward. We're in the present time. Where's your life at now, Javi?
Life is good right now for me. I unfortunately right after the show, I revealed to my father, and he passed away 2 months later. You know what I mean? Wow. And that was heavy. But I'm glad that we got to talk like men. You know what I mean? Like we had the chance to talk and get an understanding. And I realized that a lot of what I thought he was thinking of me were my own projections. Right. And I realized the fact that he couldn't speak to me wasn't because he didn't respect me. It was because he was battling he had his own challenge. He was drinking. Right. You know what I mean? So I thought for a while, like he didn't see me the same.
A long time ago, I slowed down on the streets. And I kind of saw that you maybe looked at me a little different too.
It don't take a man to be in the street fighting. It takes a man to stay home fighting for their family, doing what you have to do.
And it was hard. And I realized after, like, it's both of us. You know what I mean? We're not at that point, and we got to that point, and it was cool. And he passed away from cirrhosis of the liver about 2-3 months after the show aired. No, not aired. Filmed.
Right.
And,
right.
Yeah, and fucking it was rough, but and I can tell you, anyone who drinks, like, watch out. Like, don't. Man. You mean alcoholism's a bitch in itself, but cirrhosis of the liver is a painful fucking death. I mean, I see him in pain, and I was like, damn, this is rough. And it wasn't something that I would wish on anybody. And so I would just advise and urge people to at least limit the amount of alcohol intake that they have, because it was a very, very painful death. But since then, like, I've just been, I got an album coming out. Like I said, I rap. I got an album coming out. I'm working on a book. I have the book done. I'm just trying to figure out if I'm going to get an agent to help me publish it, or if I'm going to self-publish it. Because one thing that I did learn throughout my life is that you can't allow other people to try to tell your story. because they're not gonna have any interest in it. Like they're gonna be they're really not gonna indifferent to it. You know what I mean? Like it's like they don't care if you win, but they don't care if you lose. It's like you're out there on the sidelines. So I gotta see if there is somebody who is be willing to publish it in a way that's gonna be respectful to it, to the story, and but also if I gotta do it myself, I'll do it myself. You know what I mean? But yeah, I got an album coming out, and got that book I'm working on, and everything's good right now. My daughter, like I said, she's in good health. We're just doing our thing. Like I just fucking all that's in the past now. Like it's all about growth to me. Like going forward, that's what it's all about. It's just growth, and I got my YouTube channel up, and that's what I'm doing. I find a way to keep myself busy, and my girl tips sometimes because sometimes when I'm out, because I'm working from home now, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I gotta head to the back real quick to go do something. She's like, you only got like 15 minutes, you could do it. I was like, yeah. And she's like, why don't you just do it later? And I said, I'm not wasting any minutes. You know what I mean? Like that's time that I could put into something. So I gotta do it. Like I've wasted I'm 36, I'll be 37 this year. I felt like I wasted a good portion of my life trying to figure out who I am. Now that I know who I am, now that I know what I can do, I'm gonna just try to move forward with it.
Well, I commend you and your wife for breaking that cycle, brother, with your family, because the only ones that could break it is us as parents. I commend you and your wife. I heard you had your YouTube channel. If you can tell everybody what's the name of your YouTube channel and what you're trying to do with it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. For those kind words. And the name of the YouTube channel is just Incredible Javier. And so you could check me out. I talk about just different things. A lot about YA, my experiences in YA, because I feel that that's a topic that a lot of people don't really touch on. And I'm not trying to glamorize it, but I want people to understand that these were children. These were our childhood years. So like I was there for a lot of events that maybe a lot of people remember, like when fucking Bush came into office, I was in YA. When the Twin Towers came down, I was in YA. You know what I mean? When we went to fucking declared war, I was in YA. You know what I mean? It's like for a lot of crucial moments in history, I was in YA, not understanding any of that shit. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of things going on, and most people that go to YA come out. There's very few. A lot of them will go to the joint. A lot of them will catch a case, go to the joint, but they're still coming out. There's very few people that I think have ever went to YA, end up getting life and never getting out. Like I'm pretty sure that's a small percentage. So most people that went to YA, and a lot of them have stories to tell. A lot. I see a gang of homies now. A lot of them are doing well. They changed their lives, and they've had a long fucking struggle. You know what I mean? Like you interviewed Beaver. You know what I mean? I got other boys that I talk to on a regular that are like, damn, like I can't believe some of the shit that they're doing. It's just like, damn, these motherfuckers are doing it. And it makes me smile because those are my boys. And like you said earlier, if they're really your homies, if they're really your boys, you want them to succeed. You don't want them stuck in the motherfucking streets like that. You know what I mean? Like there's people who are my age that are homeless now, that are all, addicted to drugs, addicted to alcohol, that are probably never, there's a gang of homies I have that I talk to that are never going to see the light of day again.
Yes, sir.
And there's homies that in their 20s that their whole life was taken from them, and they didn't get to see what I see. So every day I take that into consideration. I get to walk outside when the sun shines. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that don't get that, and I'm grateful for that. So that's all my channel is, just explaining how grateful I am for things, my outlook on things. And even though I'm doing well now, I still got that rebellious, that rebellious take on life. Right. So I'm probably a lot more unconventional in a lot of my thinking and the way I look at things politically and artistically. And that's just because like I refuse to conform. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's just so that's my channel right there is at Incredible Javier. My Instagram at Incredible Javier, and I'll keep everybody posted.
Javi, it's been a pleasure talking to you, brother. I'm sure we'll be doing much more things together. And other than that, you can say goodbye, homeboy.
I appreciate it. Hey, thanks for the opportunity. I appreciate that. I just want to shout out my peeps. You know what I mean? Shout out to my wife, my kids, my aunts, my uncles, Beaver, you know what I mean? Fucking my boy Wicked Willie, Leon, James the Just, and everybody else to show support. You know what I mean? All the homies from Monte.